I'm Allison, sitting here in my cozy apartment, sipping on a cup of coffee. It's hard to believe that a year ago, my world was turned upside down. I remember the day vividly, the shock, the betrayal, and the pain. It all started when I walked into that fateful meeting at Zenith Tech, a company where I had dedicated 8 long years of my life. I had always been passionate about marketing, and Zenith Tech was the perfect place for me to grow and showcase my skills. I had built the brand from the ground up, creating campaigns that had put the company on the map. I had worked tirelessly, sacrificing weekends and holidays, all for the sake of the company's success. But on that day, everything changed. My boss, Ryan, called a meeting to announce my replacement. Standing beside him was a young woman named Lily, my husband Tom's girlfriend. She had zero experience in marketing, but Ryan claimed that we needed fresh energy. I sat there in shock, trying to process what was happening. I felt like my entire world was collapsing around me. As Ryan droned on about the company's need for innovation and next-generation thinking, I couldn't help but feel a sense of betrayal. I had given everything to this company, and now they were replacing me with someone who had no idea what she was doing. I looked around the room and saw the faces of my colleagues, avoiding my eyes. They knew what was happening, and yet they said nothing. When it was Lily's turn to speak, she stood up and smiled, as if she had just won the lottery. She talked about her vision for the company and how she was going to bring a new perspective to the marketing department. I wanted to scream, to tell her that she had no idea what she was talking about, but I held my tongue. I knew that it wouldn't do any good. After the meeting, I walked out of the conference room, feeling numb. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I had lost my job, my reputation, and my husband all in one day. I got in my car and drove to a coffee shop, where I sat in silence, trying to make sense of it all. As I sat there, I couldn't help but think about how I had missed all the signs. In the past few months, I had noticed that Ryan had been avoiding eye contact with me, and my budget requests had been getting delayed. I had also noticed that some of the younger employees I had mentored had been acting strange around me. But I had dismissed these signs as normal startup growing pains. I had been so focused on my work that I had failed to see what was really going on. It wasn't until I got home that I discovered the truth. My daughter, Emily, was sitting on the front steps, crying. She told me that she had known about Tom's affair for months, but she had been too afraid to tell me. She showed me a recording of Tom and Lily talking about how they had planned to get me fired so that Lily could take my job. I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest. Over the next few days, I began to piece together the puzzle. I discovered that Tom had been gambling heavily and had racked up a huge debt. He had used his business connections to get Lily hired at Zenith Tech, hoping that she would be able to help him pay off his debts. He had also been funding Lily's lifestyle with money from our joint bank account, without my knowledge. I was devastated. I couldn't believe that the man I had loved and trusted for so many years could do something like this to me. But I knew that I couldn't just sit back and let him get away with it. I decided to fight back. I started by gathering evidence of Tom's betrayal and Lily's incompetence. I collected bank statements, emails, and screenshots of Lily's Instagram posts, which were leaking confidential company information. I also recorded Tom's conversations with Lily, which proved that they had planned to get me fired. I then reached out to my network of contacts in the industry, letting them know what had happened. I updated my LinkedIn profile and started looking for new opportunities. I also connected with a group of women who had been pushed out of their jobs in the tech industry. We called ourselves the Rebuild Collective, and we supported each other as we tried to rebuild our careers. A few weeks later, Zenith Tech was hit with a major data breach. Lily had posted a video on Instagram that showed the company's financial model and customer data. The board was furious, and Ryan was desperate for help. He called me and asked me to come back as a consultant to help them fix the mess. I was hesitant at first. I didn't want to help the company that had betrayed me. But I knew that there were good people at Zenith Tech who didn't deserve to lose their jobs because of Ryan's bad judgment. I decided to help them, but on my own terms. I agreed to consult for Zenith Tech for a limited time at a high hourly rate. I also made it clear that I would not be responsible for any long-term solutions. I was there to fix the immediate crisis and train someone to handle the ongoing issues. When I walked into the Zenith Tech office for the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of déjà vu. The badge reader still recognized my credentials, and the receptionist, Sarah, looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I walked down the hallway, past my old office, and into the conference room, where Ryan and the rest of the team were waiting for me. Ryan looked like he had aged 10 years in the past few weeks. He apologized for what had happened and asked for my help. I listened to him, but I didn't say anything. I knew that his apology was too little, too late. Over the next few days, I worked tirelessly to fix the data breach and restore the company's reputation. I developed a crisis management plan, coached Ryan for media interviews, and created a customer communication plan. I also discovered that a consultant named Victor had been hired by Tom to infiltrate the company. Victor had downloaded all of the company's sensitive data and was planning to sell it to a competitor. I showed Ryan the evidence of Victor's scheme, and he was shocked. He couldn't believe that Tom had betrayed him like that. He immediately fired Victor and hired a forensic security firm to investigate the matter. In the end, Zenith Tech was able to recover from the data breach, but the damage had been done. The company's reputation had been severely damaged, and many of its key clients had left. Ryan stepped down as CEO, and the company hired a new CMO, someone with real experience and a proven track record. As for me, I decided to leave Zenith Tech for good. I had learned my lesson. I had realized that I didn't need a corner office or a high salary to be happy. I had built something real, something that was entirely mine. I had the support of my daughter, my friends, and the Rebuild Collective. I had the skills and the experience to succeed on my own terms. I started my own consulting business, focusing on fractional CMO services. I worked with a variety of clients, from startups to established companies, helping them develop and implement marketing strategies. I loved my work, and I was making a good living. Looking back on that year, I realized that it was one of the most challenging and rewarding experiences of my life. I had been through a lot, but I had come out stronger and more resilient. I had learned to trust myself and to never let anyone else define my worth. So, if you're going through a difficult time right now, remember that you're not alone. There are people who care about you, and there are opportunities out there waiting for you. Don't give up. Keep fighting, and never stop believing in yourself.